Hi everybody, it's Liz Hodge, and as promised we are going to dive into how to develop an audition book. So an audition book is really something that develops over time. It evolves over time as you develop as an artist, actor, singing. As you age, you want to change things around. So you really want to have some things prepared in your back pocket that you can really nail, that you can do at any time, because auditions tend to pop up, and you can just step in and do it and nail it. So I'm going to give some general guidelines first, and then we can dive a little bit deeper. So in general, you want to have 5 or 6 songs in your book to begin with. Like I said before, it's going to be an ever evolving process. You're going to rotate songs in, you're going to rotate songs out, and the ones that don't work so well, and you're going to find ones that you really like, that fit your voice better, fit your character better, that you're going to rotate in. So it's going to be kind of an ever evolving process. So that being said, it does take a little bit of experimentation and research to just get things started. So I'm going to include a couple of websites in the post that you can do a little research on. It's mostly about songs to avoid and stuff like that. We'll get into that a little bit later. So these are just general guidelines. It's not the be all and end all as like, this is what you have to have. But these are really good guidelines to get you started. Okay, so we're going to talk about the different genres that you need to, or different periods that you need to have some songs with. In general, you want contrasting pieces in each era. So you want a ballad, and you want an upbeat. So something slow, more moody, maybe showing a little bit darker quality in your acting and your voice, and then something more upbeat, so a little happier and that kind of stuff. So there are, in general, 3 or 4 different categories that we're going to be talking about. So the first one is the Jazz Age, or what we call pre-Golden Age Broadway. So this ranges from about 1920 to 1943. So this would include composers like Gershwin, Irving Berlin, Cole Porter, Rodgers and Hart. Rodgers and Hammerstein wasn't yet. Harold Arlen, I think we talked a little bit about him last time. He wrote the songs for Wizard of Oz, Over the Rainbow, obviously, which you want to avoid. You really want to avoid signature songs that were done by someone else, mainly because you don't want to be compared with that person, right? So Over the Rainbow is Judy Garland's. You don't want to go there because you don't want to be compared to Judy Garland like that. So Jerome Kern is another one. So you can have that. You can also mix and match a little bit with the Golden Age of Broadway, because a lot of these composers kind of cross over the different eras, right? So of course Rodgers and Hammerstein was then, Lerner and Lowe, Cole Porter again, George and Ira Gershwin again, Irving Berlin, right? Composers like Leonard Bernstein were starting to compose for Broadway, Frank Lesser, and a young Stephen Sondheim as well. So this era goes from about 1943 to about 1964, right? So we're starting to kind of push the edge of some of the rock musicals that were starting to come out a little after that. Okay, so here again, you want a contemporary and a ballad and an upbeat. Sorry, you want a ballad and an upbeat. So like I said, you can kind of cross over pre-Golden Age with Golden Age, kind of those two things. You can kind of mix a little bit if you wanted to. As contemporary starts to come up. Of course, that's everything past 1964. We have Sondheim, we have Aronson Flaherty, Kander and Ebb, Stephen Sondheim, or no, it's not, well, yes, we have Stephen Sondheim, of course, but Stephen Schwartz, which we'll get back to in just a minute, Marvin Hamlisch, Jason Robert Brown, who we'll also get back to, Booby and Schoenberg. If anybody knows how to pronounce that, please comment. Of course, they did Les Mis, Ashman, Menken, Rice, Elton John. So anything from the contemporary Disney catalog would be great, especially if you're auditioning for that. So anything from The Lion King forward as far as auditioning for Broadway. Lin-Manuel Miranda, of course, you want to have one of those. If you are a rapper and you really can nail it, that would be great. That being said, you don't want to do Hamilton unless you're auditioning for Hamilton. It's just because, you know, it's still on national tour, it's still being done on Broadway. Unless you can really, really nail it, don't do it. Okay, do something else by him from, you know, in the Heights or something like that. Okay, Andrew Lippa, of course, is another good one to choose from. So here again, you want an up-tempo and a ballad. Now, I was going to say something about Sondheim. If you're a Sondheim person, it's great to have something in your back pocket by Sondheim. It really shows your musicianship. It shows a lot of acting. It shows a lot of vocal skill. So if you're a Sondheim person, then you really want to make sure that you have something from Sondheim in your back pocket in your book. Okay. So it's also a good idea to have some kind of novelty songs, like a comedic song, or something that's a character acting song or something like that. So, you know, maybe something from, you know, maybe the Evil Stepsisters from Cinderella, something that has some character to it. You know, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about, you know, Ursula, maybe, you know, it's more of a character song, something like that. You know, Honey Bun from South Pacific, something like that. It would be fun to have in your back pocket. Here again, if a character piece should come up, and then you just have something there that you can nail. Okay. I was going to also get into composers that you really want to kind of avoid. There are some composers that directors and music directors just don't want to hear from because they're overdone, or it's on Broadway still, or it's on national tour, or something like that. So, like I said, Stephen Schwartz, be very, very, very careful with that. Jason Robert Brown, also good examples. Also, Andrew Lloyd Webber, you want to be very, very careful with. A lot of his stuff is overdone, and if it's not done really, really well, then it just kind of, it's not good. You better be able to nail it. So things like Defying Gravity, you want to avoid doing, it's Idina Menzel's. So just don't, unless you're auditioning for Wicked, don't do it. So, you know, so things like that. Also, you want to avoid things that are from kind of the big new show or something like that. So, you know, something like Six, even though it might be tempting because it's pop and it's, you know, kind of girl power and all this kind of stuff, it might be really tempting because you have some really strong female leads there. Just don't do it because it's going to be overdone already. Okay, so just be careful about that kind of stuff. Make sure that you're checking your book at least yearly, so you really can kind of see what's working and what's not. Like I said before, it takes a lot of experimentation. You have to kind of do a little bit of market research in a way. So find audition pieces that it's like, oh, that didn't work at that audition. It didn't go over very well. I didn't feel really comfortable with it. Then rotate it out, find something new. So it does take some experimentation. It does take time to develop a really good book. So don't feel like I have to pick 5 songs or 6 songs and that's going to be it, and I can't change it, or I feel like I'm stuck with it, or anything like that. You might have to get some coaching, talk with your teacher, and just really see what works and what doesn't. And you might have to do a few auditions that are not going to be successful, but you don't want to waste your time doing that. So you might want to work with someone to see, what works and what doesn't. And then one way to really kind of keep things organized that accompanists really appreciate, if you have a live accompanist, if you're lucky enough to get one of those, you want to keep your book organized. The one that you're currently using, you want to keep it organized in about a 1/2 inch binder. So you want to just have those books there. You want to have them well labeled. You could have like one of those little tabs, that you can organize with and write down the name of the song and stuff like that on it. So to keep it organized. So just that. Then you want to have another binder of ones that you're working on. Okay, so that's a different binder. You don't want to have both together. So songs that you're working on that are potentially going into your book, that's another binder. And then you want to have another binder that ones that you have done that are rotated out. So you just kind of have a catalog of what you've done, what you haven't done, like that. Okay, so I hope this really helps. I will be getting back to you about preparing for callbacks. All right, that'll be the next one. We'll see you soon.